Hey guys, Tony here. It's Sunday. It's February the 28th. Okay, guys, I've been really busy, but I've had a chance to write down some of the I kind of wrote down all the dreams and the vision and the things that's happened to me over the years up until 2020. And I didn't write any of that down because you all know most of that anyways. It's all recorded on video. That's when my videos started kind of taking off, was in 2020 when the earthquake hit in Virginia, and it was felt all the way down in South Carolina where we live, and which was a fulfillment of a dream that I had. It was back in 2002. Back in 2002, when I had that dream of earthquakes in a certain place where my wife works now. Anyways, this is going to be a real quick video, guys, but I think that I've come to understand something. Looking at all this stuff that's happened over the years, it's starting to make sense now. And I was really perplexed about the hearing the shofars and what they might mean, and it's been absolutely driving me crazy. I've been praying. Well, I think God has finally revealed to me what it is, and I think I've been digging into it way too deep, trying to connect it to everything, and it really is it's something very simple. The shofars as a warning, the very stark warning. All these things that I've had happen have been throughout the course of years. Well, I believe that when the earthquake dream had the fulfillment, there's a part of a timeline that started where God wanted me to start sharing the gospel and getting people prepared, including my own family and my own self, because time is coming to an end, before Jesus returns. Now, the very first thing that's ever actually had the fulfillment, if you will, it's not in the way you might think, was I've had dreams since I was 10 years old, but I had something happen with an accident, and I've explained it in previous videos, that I understood in 2015 that actually it made sense. I didn't make sense before that I was in a Nissan pickup truck it was 14 degrees outside, and it stuck in my mind, but it never meant anything until 2015 when I started studying Hebrew and realized that Nissan 14 would be the day that Jesus died on the cross, because Nissan 15 would happen at sundown. That would be the first day of Passover. Jesus died on the day that Passover began in the evening. And so so Nissan 14 is important because that would be the day that Jesus was crucified, when he made the sacrifice for our sins. And I came to understand that in 2015. So that was kind of started the whole thing, but it was really in 2020 though, when the dreams started to come to fruition. When the earthquake happened in the very spot, literally across the street from where I dreamed that this earthquake happened, it started a chain of events. And so all through my life, I've had dreams about UFOs, and some of them were really scary. It started when I was 10 years old, and I dreamed of the spacecraft in Indian Trail, and that's actually been a sighting. Hundreds of people saw a UFO in Indian Trail, of all places, where I was at when I had the dream. That's a fulfillment. That dream was fulfilled. So that happened this year. Guys, I believe that 2020 and 2021 are the two important dates to remember, okay? They're important. God showed me that before it was pointed out to me that's the last two verses of Revelation is 20 and 21. I didn't know that then. That was something Bob Barber come out with, which blew my mind because it makes perfect sense. 20 and 21 was the last two. I honestly believe that's it. 2020 was when the birthing pain started, and 2021 is when we will be born into. I believe with all my heart that this is the year of the rapture. Here's another reason why. I got a lot of stuff wrote down, but I'm not going to go over it all. I would just more or less keep looking at it, trying to remember if there's anything else. But the important parts of this. Okay, I was born on January 21st. 1973. 7 times 3 is 21. My brother died on my birthday, January 21st. He was a part of the vision that I had when I was 11. Okay, this is important because I always thought that we were going in the rapture together, and we didn't. But it's a part of this timeline. I've realized that all the dreams and things that I've had have been pointing to a certain time, a certain time frame. Just like the 333 thing, I didn't understand what that was, and I mean we can debate all day long about what this could mean, because it could mean a lot of things. But in Strong's, 333 means to observe carefully. God sounded the alarm for me. He wanted to let me know it's time to sound the alarm. And like I said, I think I read into it much too deep. Sound the alarm. The 333 sequence that I kept seeing at work and on the tags and on the church and everywhere else, that was just driving me crazy. I was perplexed about it. Simply means that God is saying, pay attention. Now it's time to pay attention to what's going on around you. Okay? Things are going to start developing really fast. That's what God was showing me. He was sounding the alarm because, just a watchman on the wall sounds the alarm when the enemy's coming, when the sword is coming. He's telling me the sword is coming. It's approaching. I believe that could translate to the end of the war in heaven, where the devil is about to come down, we're about to go up. So anyways, now the vision has a fulfillment. Now, the next thing to happen in that vision is the rapture. Or my death, and I'm going to be in the rapture, but nevertheless, it's partially fulfilled is my point. I've always believed in my heart and in my soul that it was the rapture happening, for me at least, because I saw it. So, and I didn't understand Kenny going first and seeing him go. I didn't put all that together until after the fact, but that makes perfect sense of a timeline. I mean, he already showed me Kenny would be the only one in my life. He would be hunched over, and I thought he was looking for something all these years, and he was actually hunched over with cancer. He was walking with a hunch and facing down like he's looking at the floor because he couldn't sit up straight. It's partially from sitting in that chair and sleeping in that chair all the time. He had just gotten a hunch. He had just developed a hunch. It was even a lump in the back of his neck. So that has been fulfilled. That happened, okay? Now, we're in 2021. Like I said, all this stuff that's, that has everything to do with 2021, even my age and the year I was born, my birthday, everything. The vision. Kenny dying on my birthday and being the 21st of January. I don't know how long we have. I can't guess that. I have no idea. But here's the other thing. The very first physical thing that's happened to me, and it wasn't a vision, this was a physical actual thing, was that accident. And God eventually revealed to me that it was all about the Passover. That black car that should have hit us, that we should have hit when we were turned sideways, heading towards this car, moving at us at a high rate of speed, we should have all been killed, or we should have been in a horrible accident. I don't think that anybody would have survived that, honestly. That's how fast we were going. That's how it had happened so fast. But that car disappeared. It was death. It was a big black car, represented death. It vanished. It was gone. Nowhere to be found. And then, the guy that was in the car in front of me, the reason why I hit the brakes that caused my little Nissan truck to start to turn, it lost, the brakes failed and it started sliding into the oncoming lane. I lost control. Well, the guy that was there that caused me to hit the brakes was in his car. He'd gotten out. He took us home. That whole dream represented the Passover. It represented how I trusted in the Lord, because I called out on the Lord's name right before the car vanished. And then this guy represented an angel, the angel that would take us home. This guy took us back home because the truck was over in the ditch, but he took us back home. So that was a fulfillment. That fulfillment, right? It was all about Passover. Now, I can't say with certainty that it's this year on Passover, but guys, it sure certainly seems like it with all the stuff going on. People are starting to wake up. People are starting to see things and have these, everywhere. People are having dreams, hearing shofars. In 2020 is when people started hearing the shofars. It was in, I think, March the 29th. It was either April 29th, it was March 29th, I'm pretty certain. You can look it up on YouTube. Was when Israel, the residents of Jerusalem, woke up to the sounds of shofars blowing everywhere, and no one knew where they were coming from. So that was when it kind of, the people hearing shofar started. Then Paul Kidd with Doc Kids said that he had heard it, and a bunch of his Christian friends had heard shofars in random places. Then I started hearing about them happening everywhere, and I was like, I want to hear them, and I started praying to hear them, and eventually I heard them. God showed them. He let me hear them. But guys, this is a warning. These shofars, it's beautiful to believe that we're hearing heavenly shofars, but this is not, this isn't the shofar that blows when we go up to heaven. Everyone's going to hear that. That's not, this We're not just individually hearing the shofar of heaven, necessarily the last trumpet. The last trumpet will blast. I believe we'll all hear that last trumpet. But as far as the trumpets blasting, if that was the last trumpet, then there must be previous trumpets blowing. Okay, I don't think it's talking about the trumpets of Revelation, the judgment trumpets. I don't believe that's what it is. I believe that people all over the world will begin to hear the trumpets in 2020. They did. And then by the time the year rolls around again, to that time of the year, which was March the 29th, by the way, is when Jerusalem woke up to the sound. I believe it could have been the last year warning, 1 year, because what are we all looking at? We're looking at sometime in March. I'm looking at March 7th only because I heard the shofars on the 7th. Other than that, really, I don't really have a good reason for it. It looks like I've gotten dates mixed up with Purim and all that, so I don't even know. But I do know this is going to happen. I know on March the 23rd, which is the day, incidentally, that my oldest brother, Jack, passed away in 2018. March the 23rd is the day of Aliyah. Aliyah is the name of my youngest daughter. Okay, the day of Aliyah is actually the day that Israel celebrates Joshua taking the Israelites across the River Jordan into the land of milk and honey, into the promised land. Right? And then that thing happened at work with my co-worker. Her last name was Jordan. Her son's name was Christian. His birthday happened to be 8/11. My boss was out, so I was going to go ask her. So I'm saying, well, he's missing. I don't know why that popped in my head. It was kind of weird, What would my boss have to do with anything? But something got into my head. Well, my boss is missing because I was thinking about, hourly watch, and 8/11 was missing in their dream. And Christina's dream, she had a dream. And she heard some numbers or saw some numbers, and 8/11 was missing. I'm thinking, well, 8/11 was missing. What could that mean? And I'm outside, stacking pallets on a forklift. And I'm thinking, well, my boss is out he's getting surgery. So he was out that whole week. I said, well, he's missing. I wonder what his birthday is. So I went and asked my team leader, and she says, well, I don't know what his birthday is, but my son's birthday is 8/11, and his name is Chris, short from Christian. He's in the military. He's assigned to or stationed in Missouri. Okay, so you got that. That happened, and so it's just the same thing. It's the same story. Christians, Missouri, the River Jordan. The world will go into misery when the Christians cross the River Jordan into the Promised Land at the Rapture. Misery. Okay, guys, this is too obvious, and I'm not really smart. So when God shows me stuff like this, a lot of times I don't catch it till later, but now it's starting to make sense. That the day of Aliyah is all about crossing the River Jordan. It's on March the 23rd. Not to mention that Israel is voting on their third or fourth government. The Knesset, I think, was the third, and now they're voting on their fourth. I might have those wrong, but they're voting on the next government system to be set up on March the 23rd. And incidentally, is the day of Aliyah. March the 23rd, the day my brother died. I also saw that number on a straight talk phone back when I saw 9/11 at my work and heard the emergency broadcast. All these things are starting to come starting to point to this year. This year. Everything's pointing to this year. I don't know. I can't say with certainty because I can only tell you what I feel right now and what I feel like God's showing me. And I've gone over these things, all these dreams. I was going to come on here and just go through all of them. It doesn't take too long. I've told them before. I've dreamed about UFOs. I've dreamed about these UFOs. I had a rapture dream one time where I woke up at midnight. The UFO was outside, and getting on the UFO was supposed to be what was going to the rapture. Now, I know in real life, if I was awake, I would never get on a UFO because I know what they are. They're fallen angels. I was shown that at 10 years old. But in my dream, we were getting on a UFO. And that UFO, there was this exam rooms. What do they do in exam rooms on a UFO? It just brings to mind the experimentation of human beings, or harvesting human beings. Well, I believe that when the Antichrist, or not Antichrist necessarily, but when the devil comes to the earth with his minions and the Antichrist makes his appearance, I believe that there's going to be some kind of a false rapture. Maybe to explain away the real rapture, they'll say we took the people, or some other beings took the people, but we could take you somewhere too. If you take the mark of the beast, we can give you eternal life, and we can take you in the rapture as well, take you to another planet. I don't know. There's something to all that. I don't know yet. I can't put it all together yet. But all I'm saying is that there's something really wicked, something really evil, something really malevolent and horrible and horrific coming to this earth very soon. Very soon. So you need to get on board with Jesus Christ. If you want to escape these things, the only way to do it is through Jesus Christ. Guys, it's the only way to do it. Before I forget this, I want y'all to check out Chad Thomas. Watchman on the Wall, Watchman on the Wall 88, I believe is his channel. Check out his very last video. He made it this morning, and it's about his wife having a dream. See, he don't talk about his dreams, and his wife, they don't talk about dreams and stuff, and they don't have them like a lot of people do. Like I've had lots of dreams, I talk about them. Chad doesn't do that, but his wife had a video. You need to go to watch it. I'll put the link in the description. Go watch that video, and it's about her hearing an audible voice in a dream about salvation. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to give it away yet, but it was about salvation. Guys, it's time to get saved. It's the day of the salvation is now. If you don't get on that lifeboat right now, you're going to be left in a world that's going to see some of the most evil, sick, twisted things it's ever seen. And not only that, it's going to be a great deception where people are going to be fooled into believing that these beings, these entities, somehow are like mankind's salvation or saviors, that they're going to somehow be able to help humanity to evolve or whatever the craziness they're going to start trying to teach. But remember in Revelation, it says, will pray to die, but death will flee from them. There's going to be some kind of technology that's not only going to keep people alive, but there's going to be some horrific things like the mark of the beast and demonic beings that are going to torment mankind for months and months and months, and horrible sores that appear on their bodies. Guys, there's some really horrible stuff happening in the Revelation. Get saved now. Get saved now, guys. March. Remember what I said. March. Let's march forward into March, because sometime in March, I believe, and I don't know, can't know that, I can't guess the date, but sometime in March, I believe something extremely important is going to happen spiritually. It could be the rapture. I believe that it is going to be the rapture, but I don't know for sure, but I think it is. I think that the Passover is extremely important in the rapture now, which I never had thought that before. I had thought that any of the feast days could be, especially the fall, since they haven't been fulfilled yet. But really, if you think about it, if you really think about it, Jesus partially fulfilled the Passover with his resurrection, but we haven't been resurrected yet, and he died for us. So if you want to think about it like this, until the body of Christ, us, the Christian church, is resurrected, it has not met a full completion. It has not been completed yet until we rise. And doesn't it make sense that the body of Christ would rise on the same time of the year that he rose? At the Passover, or right after, right at the first fruits, I'm just talking about the Passover season, right at the time that he was crucified and he was resurrected and then he was ascended to heaven, sometime in that time frame. And that's not a whole lot of time. We're only talking a month or two. I don't know. There's people talking about the calendars are off a month, so we could be talking April. But I think it's going to be March, guys. I just do. I mean, people are looking at a lot of different dates, okay? But when you look at the regular calendar, it is March is when the Passover is, and then you look at the star calendar or the I think it's or the Enoch calendar, whatever, that might be a month off. I don't know, but sometime between March and April. That's a very short window right there, guys. March and April, but I believe it's going to be this year, and I believe it's going to be in the spring, because there's so many verses in the Bible that allude to a springtime fulfillment of the rapture. Even the fig tree generation alludes to it in a little bit. I mean, I know the parable is most likely about Israel becoming a nation, but it does say something about the fig tree when its branch is yet tender, putteth forth leaves. That's the spring. Everything happens in the spring. The lambs that are raised for temple sacrifice, they're born in the spring. They're raised up for a year and then they're sacrificed. Jesus was born in the same place the lambs were born, in Bethlehem. He was born probably around Nisan 1, the first of Nisan, in the season of the Passover. In the season of the Passover, just like when he died right before the Passover, the day of, the day before the 14th of Nisan. So, and then it happened to me. So there's something about Nisan 14. I'm not going to say for certainty that would be the rapture date, but I think we need to be looking at the Passover season this year. That's all I'm saying. I can't narrow it down. It could be the 14th. Who knows? It could be tonight. I mean, we really don't know anything, but we're guessing. But we're looking at these dates because they're important. Passover. Guys, Passover is so important. I know it is. I've always known it was. I don't know why I never talked about it more. Because that was literally something that happened physically in my life that God has showed me. And the book of Exodus. And I told you about that in my last not the last video, but the one before. about the Exodus being all about Jesus and being all about our salvation and our being taken to the promised land. You see what I'm saying? So Passover, guys, that's the key. Passover. Joshua, the day of Aliyah. My daughter's name is Aliyah. Aliyah means to rise, to go up, to go, to basically Aliyah is when the word, I guess, when the Jews say, like, they made an Aliyah, which they made they went to Jerusalem. They went up to Jerusalem. It means Aliyah. They went from all over the world. They went home to Israel and they went up to Aliyah, up to Jerusalem, which is called the Aliyah. Aliyah is my daughter's name. I had the dream about my niece when my daughter Aliyah had gotten, something flown into her chest and she was dying. And when she died, my niece says, my daddy, talking about my brother Jack, who died on March 23rd, said, my daddy put her in the temple. The temple was that little room with the keypad on it. It's funny, it's a keypad, you got to figure it out. You got to figure out what this means, right? It's a mystery. But Jack had the key. He opened it. He knew how to open it. Any rate, he put her in the temple. Aliyah means to rise up. It means to ascend. What happens when we ascend? We go up to the temple of God. We go up to the throne room, to the temple of God. We rise up to the temple. Aliyah. And then Aliyah is the day, it's actually a holiday that the Jews celebrate in honor of Joshua taking the Israelites across the River Jordan into the Promised Land. And we know that Joshua is a shadow type of Jesus. Yeshua, it's a shadow type. So anyways, guys, I love y'all. If you haven't been saved, get saved today. Follow the descriptions and the steps in the description. Remember the first two are about the gospel. That's what you need to believe the gospel. And accept Christ while there's still time, guys. We're running out of time. This could be the year we go home. And if you're left behind, you're going to be in a world of trouble because it's going to be hell on earth. A horrific time that nobody wants to be here then. I love y'all and don't want you to be here. Accept Jesus while there's still time. I'll see you later. Love you. Bye.